Well, in the light of that, a young woman from Kent who spent 2 years facing prison for a crime she did not directly commit is warning other young people about the danger of joint enterprise laws.
The reform of joint enterprise is long overdue.
Justice should be based on facts and not assumptions.
We'll fight for justice to the end.
They could be convicted even if they didn't strike the fatal blow.
Our police! Come to the front door with nothing in your hands!
I was like, how? Because he never done anything. So how can they charge him for murder?
Do I believe if my son was found? Definitely yes.
My name is Pearls Lauren Wisdom. I am the founder, director of JP, Legacy C.I.C. My son, as a person growing up, I always called him Professor because he's always had an intelligence about him, like an old soul, very friendly, very much a leader. Yeah, and people just gravitated towards him. From a young age, he was always very, like I said, old and just knew a lot. The first time I heard that term joint enterprise was actually when my son was arrested. I had never heard of it before that. I didn't even hear about guilt by association. I never heard about it. I've always heard about the C.I.C law. You know, that I heard a lot about the C.I.C law because it was going on a lot in the 80s, 70s, 80s. But I did not hear anything about joint enterprise or guilt by association. So when they spoke about joint enterprise then, and I heard about it, it was like, wow, really, truly? They can really arrest, these individuals and they never done the crime. So that's just, like I said, that's when I first heard about it. Yeah. When they said they're charging him for murder, I was like, how? Because he never done anything. So how can they charge him for murder?
In 2023, Crown Prosecution Service data showed black people are 16 times more likely to be prosecuted under joint enterprise than white people.
Joint enterprise, or common purpose, a law introduced in the 18th century to stop the aristocracy from duelling, is now being used increasingly against young people from our council estates, and all too often it results in cases such as this, where a young man who is asked for a lift gives that lift and faces life in prison for it.
Looking back, I feel that the system failed my son pretty much from the beginning, really. Up to primary school, everything was, for me, normal. Where I saw the difference was his transition from primary school to secondary school. There was a lack of after-school clubs. There was nothing available for him. While he was at school, we thought he was safe. That's where the problem started, when we started being called to school because of his behavior. So we were surprised because up to then he was okay. And at the end, they said, well, don't have a choice then, exclude him permanent from school. And they said, we have this organization that is called PRU. I never heard about that before, but that's where they send apparently the kids that are not in a mainstream school due to different reasons. I think the biggest failure was there. He didn't settle. He was not happy there, and he stopped going there as well. And that's it. That's what everything started. How does a mother describe her only child, a miracle baby? His personality was very smart, intelligent. He was caring, loving. He made friends very easy with all ages, young or old. Everybody seems to be drawn to him. We knew as parents that through his life he's going to encounter some challenges due to his color. In the beginning at school, I didn't know the system at all, so I kind of believe everything they told me. I just followed what they tell me to do. I didn't know where to ask for help. But I said, well, maybe social services will be somewhere I can go to because they deal with children and stuff. So I went to that, and I don't think they listened my concerns in the beginning. There was like standard ticking boxes, assessments. They took so long to actually believe what I was saying, first of all, until it was too late. When the help actually came, my son was already being groomed into county lines, and it was a down spiral.
A young boy has become criminalised, I believe, from nursery. I do believe that, from nursery. I feel that our black boys especially aren't looked at like children. They're not looked at as little toddlers learning their way through life. They're looked at as potential danger to society.
Constant policing on young people can have a massive impact. Like you're being questioned, you're constantly under suspicion, being stopped all the time. That's going to make you really anxious and not have any trust in the police. Obviously, as a white mum with a white son, I don't know a lot about racial profiling, and I've not got much experience in it, but I do have friends that do.
Looking back, there was two opportunities, I think two situations or two occasions that if they were handled differently, probably you would have given him a chance at least. And the first one was at school. When his behavior got worse and worse, instead of them to find the roots of the cause of his behavior, no, they start labeling him as bad child, mischievous, doesn't want to learn, and the best way, we can't keep him here, he has to go. Second opportunity, let's say the biggest opportunity, was when we went to ask for help to the social services, and they took too long. So what I would say to professionals working with children nowadays, it's a very hard job, I admit. I can say there's some great people, some great professionals, volunteers as well, doing great jobs in the community regarding young people. And we have to praise them because sometimes there's just unseen heroes we don't see. But unfortunately, the system doesn't permit or doesn't allow them, or with all these bureaucracies and things, it could be budget, it could be lack of this and that, they can't do their job.
All police! Come to the front door with nothing in your hands!
So it was 5:30 in the morning, we got a knock at the door. I looked out the window and I saw plainclothes police officers, and then what upset me, even though it was 5:30 in the morning, one of the police officers said, "We've come to arrest your son for murder." I was like, so I went downstairs and I opened the door and said, "We've come to do what?" I said, "We've come to arrest your son for murder." So I stayed calm. I'm not a panicky person, so I just stayed calm because I really need to just listen to myself and just take in what's going on. They wanted to put handcuffs on him. I said, "But why do you need to put handcuffs on him?" "Well, we need to for safety." I said, "But he's not going nowhere. He's not going to do anything to you." So they said, "Oh, we don't." They just kept going, and I said, "Listen, let me just tell you something." I said, "I don't know what idea you have of us." I said, "But this is a good home, yeah? I am not an aggressive woman, black woman, like you like to, label us as." I said, "I'm being very calm. My son's being very calm. So can you just, calm down?" Because she was really hyping up. I was trying to not let anything go through my mind too much, because if I had let my imagination run away with me, I don't believe I would have had the strength that I did to fight for my child the way that I did. So for me, like I said, I don't panic. I always say, all right, then this has happened. What's the next step? How do I move forward? So I started to educate myself on what joint enterprise was about, the law, who can I speak to about the law, and what I needed to do for my child. A person's life has been taken, and I just needed for my son to be steady, to be stable, to know that, "Son, don't worry, we got this, we're going to do all we can." And then it wasn't even just about myself, it was about the other boys as well, and the other parents as well. So any information that I learned or got or received, I will then pass it on to the other parents as well. So I basically just became militant. Really and truly, yeah. That was what was on my mind.
When I first heard about joint enterprise, I couldn't get my head around how someone could be found guilty of something that they didn't physically do. There was just no evidence for murder for him. So I didn't think that he was going to get found guilty of it. It wasn't until that guilty verdict that I realised how dangerous joint enterprise is. As a mum, going through a trial is just the worst experience of my life. You're in there watching things being said and decisions being made about your son's future, and you can feel completely helpless because there's nothing you can do. I still believed, though, that justice was going to prevail and he was going to be okay. Wasn't until I got that guilty verdict that I can't even explain that feeling. It's like my soul left my body. People inside, like my family, said that it's a scream that it will haunt them, and my son also said the same thing. I wish people knew that just because you've been charged or convicted under joint enterprise, I wish that you're not guilty, because I'm guilty of it. Before this happened, I'd see on TV a group of people being done for murder. I would say, oh, they must be guilty. They must be, because the jury, they got tried by a jury, they found them guilty. But it really isn't the way. Like, there's so much things that affect the decision.
In regards to the justice system, I didn't really have much trust in them. I mean, growing up, I believe that's what they were supposed to do. But in the situation I was in at the time, I was just believing and I was hoping, but I'm not 100% sure if I was trusting the system. But I had to just go through the process at that time. When the verdict came, that was the hardest time ever. I mean, I really didn't know what to expect. The impact that it had on me. I literally ran off and left everyone that was there, and I just cried. So it wasn't a nice experience. It had a big impact on me.
Watching my son be convicted under this law made me realise that it made me question whether the justice is always reflects individual responsibility. As a mother, it's been heartbreaking to see someone that I love be sentenced to such a long sentence, life sentence, for something that they didn't do. I've lost more than just my child's physical presence. Like, I've lost my sense of normality, my peace of mind, and my faith in the justice system. Every day is a struggle, between grief and hope. Missed birthdays, family celebrations, all of those things, it's always a constant reminder that they're not there. But despite it, I keep going. And I visit, I don't miss phone calls, I continue to fight for my child's future. I have to be strong because I have no choice. Every day I learn that my heart, a big piece of my heart is somewhere else. For us, our family, the emotional, can't be seen that, sorry. Sorry guys, for us the emotional impact is constant. Every milestone, every holiday, every family occasion is overshadowed by the fact that my son's not here. The stress, the worry, and the heartbreak just affects everyone. Affects everyone. Because I think what people don't realise is that when a child is taken away under joint enterprise, the sentence doesn't stop with them. The consequences ripple through the whole family. Prison has a lasting impact on their mental well-being, because being removed from the support networks and placed in a system that feels harsh, is unforgiving, it leaves emotional scars. At one point my son was withdrawn and she lost trust in others because of the environment that he's in. There's nothing I can do. from these experiences. I can hear the change in his voice. I see the emotional weight that he's carrying, and I feel the pain watching him grow up in a place that was never meant to nurture him.
The trauma that people don't understand is that, you know, you go to court, the verdict comes out, and then everyone thinks it's over, and it's not over. Trauma does different things to people, messes up your functional, you know, your brain, everything. Even now, like my nervous system, I literally have involuntary jerks in my body now and then, all kind of things, sharp pains in my brain. So it's had an impact on my life, a big impact, and my family, my children. I couldn't function at work. My brain was just ticking over all the time. It was so hard just because you know that he's innocent, and that's what made it really hard, because that's all I kept thinking. He's innocent. He hasn't done this. I'm a believer of the Most High, and that gives me strength every day. And then when I met Pearls, you know, and the strength now, the fight, you know, it's not even about my son anymore. That's what gives me the hope. That's giving me the fight right now. Meeting the other women that's going through the same thing as me, meeting Pearls that's taken up, you know, ready to fight. We're ready to fight this thing to make a change and to just let people be aware of what's going on. People's lives, innocent people's lives, is just taken away just like that for being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Boys have to understand that being present is enough to end them up with a life sentence. Just being present, that spontaneous act of that one person can then cause everybody to end up with a life sentence.
So I'm always watching their opinion because they're dictating our future. So when I saw the video come in, I saw their reaction. Wasn't good.
It was the music video and the words used within it that convicted my client and his friends.
Drill music, rap music, music videos are used now as evidence to convict young boys. Our boys love music. Our children love music, and you know they rap and they love to, you know, they're just musical. They're creative. Some children they call it hyperbole, where they rap about things that they've never done in their life. They've never come nowhere near it, and they rap about these things. These things can then end up as being used against them as evidence. So you have that, their clothing. So you've got the tech fleece tracksuits. Then the tech fleeces and the tracksuits became the uniform for grime artists. So they were the one that was saying that this was fashionable and whatever the case may be. But then that became criminalized.
Boys are being picked on or judged by the way they look, the clothing that they wear, the music that they listen to. These are the things that they are using in the court system.
I strongly believe that policing practices, postcode profiling, gang narratives, they have a significant influence on how young people are perceived. You know, as a mother, it's painful to watch your child being defined by stereotypes rather than who they are, who he is. As a mother, I believe it's essential that young people are seen as individuals and not reduced to stereotypes based on where they live.
In 2016, a court judgment established that joint enterprise had been incorrectly applied for over 30 years. Research by the Centre for Crime and Justice Studies with the campaign group Jengva believes that the judgment has had little to no effect on joint enterprise convictions, with young black men disproportionately targeted.
Young black boys are more likely to be labelled as gang members, even when there isn't, you know, tangible evidence to support that claim.
The teenager in this fish and chip shop is about to be violently detained as an armed suspect. Soon, he'll be surrounded by firearms officers, tasered twice, forced to the ground, and beaten with a police rifle.
All I saw, guns pointed in my direction. I was like, don't shoot, don't shoot.
The Metropolitan Police later admit they detained the wrong person. So how did it happen?
What's so hard is the fact that, you know, he's innocent, he didn't do anything. He didn't kill nobody, he didn't have no intentions, he didn't have no foresight, he didn't, you know, it's so sad that you get up, you just don't know what your day's going to be like. You don't know what's going to happen in a day.
It's been a long journey, an emotional roller coaster, and you're just hit with every step of the way. You've got blocks and blocks and blocks. For my son, the single judge refused this application to appeal, which that was just so devastating. It was devastating for my son because we thought finally we're going to be heard. It was difficult, but it gave me the strength to continue. Yeah. The worst part was seeing my son go through it as well. Like when we first got the permission to appeal, it's like he was so happy and all of his emotions, he couldn't believe it, and all of his emotions just come out at once. But sitting in the courtroom for that judgment, I can't even explain. 1 minute you're hearing things in the judgment that you're thinking, oh my God, it's going to get quashed. And then the next minute you're hearing something bad, oh my God, it's not. And it was like that the whole time. And when they finally said, quash the conviction, the relief was immense. And I looked at the camera and saw my son and I saw the relief in his face.
The person that I was before, that person died. That person died at 5:30 in the morning. That person died. My life became about studying. I had to study this thing. I had to understand this because it just did not make sense how a group of young people who never committed a crime, they weren't the one that actually did the deed, can be charged and convicted and serve life in prison. I couldn't wrap my head around it. So my son was put on remand for 15 months. He was doing construction at the time. So there's lost opportunities because he could have been working. Construction is a very good job. Loss of their identity as well, because now you're a prisoner, you're a number. So and at 16, when they're learning about who they are, going into prison and just becoming now a number, that's a big thing, you know. They're losing themselves, and if they do not have the support to remind them of who they are and what future that they can have, then they're just a prisoner then, isn't it? They're just whatever the prison guard says or whatever the person says.
You know, thank everyone for coming. And I know me and my mum have a rocky relationship, but I do love her. She doesn't seem to know that.
The hardest part of the journey has been the feeling of helplessness. There's nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. As a mother, you know, your instinct is to protect your child, to comfort them when they're hurting and to fight the battles when they can't. Watching him lose precious years of his life, that's been heartbreaking, because these are years that should have been filled with opportunities, growth, and family memories. To young people watching this, I want you to understand that one moment, one decision, or even being in the wrong place with the wrong people can change your life forever.
Do I believe that my son was well? Definitely yes. From the things I already said, but I did believe in the system. I thought the system was there to protect, especially young people. But I was wrong. His life changed, and I think my life changed forever. But all of this made me determined to fight for a better society, a better England. If I had the opportunity to talk to the system, I would say that the system, especially regarding the safeguarding of our children, it's broken. The support that should be there when they actually need, when it's the crucial time to do it, is not there. Or if it's there, it's taking so long that when you go to help, it's too late. Invest in prevention, because like they say, prevention is better than cure. And I just want to end by saying that for them not to underestimate mums, because we'll fight for justice to the end.
For me, when I was growing my boys, I thought I was doing the right thing. I'll go to work, just do the right thing as a parent, that you think you're doing the right thing, but you just got to remember it's not just about the money. You've got to make sure you build a relationship with your children, know what they're doing, show love, make them know that they are loved, yeah? When people are aware in the community, brings unity, it brings strength, it brings power, you know, and it speaks volume. So I just believe with a community, we can do lots. We can make a change.
As a mother, I hope it's something I hold on to every day, because without it, this journey would be impossible. Hope also comes from the people who continue to stand beside me, my family, my friends, campaigners, and others who have been affected by the joint enterprise. Meeting other families who understand the experience reminds me that I'm not alone and that people are working tirelessly to raise awareness and seek change. I'm hopeful because I believe that truth matters, the justice matters. Voices can make a difference. Throughout history, changes often come from ordinary people who've refused to give up. That's us. And that belief keeps me moving forwards. As a mother, hope is not just something I feel, it's something I choose every day. It's what carries me through my darkest moments and reminds me that no matter how difficult the journey is, there's a reason to keep going.
So going through the whole process, from arrest to my son being acquitted, you know, I saw the needs, the support the parents needed, the families needed. My heart was broken anyway, but it just got broken even more. Just listening to what the family, there's a lot of them that didn't understand. What is this thing? What is this joint enterprise thing? Black boys are 16 times more likely to be charged and convicted for joint enterprise. That is something that's very important for people to understand. And because of that, again, that's the reason why I thought, nah, I've got to do something about this. JP's legacy, we run workshops. So we've run parent groups. So in the parent groups, we teach them about how they can advocate for their children from the beginning, from arrest, how to advocate for their children, because there's so much. When I say intricate, it's very intricate. There's so many things that they need to understand and learn that they won't learn, they won't know it. We run those workshops to educate parents on how to advocate for their children, and also we run workshops for young people, because I've just had a session yesterday actually in youth spaces. What we do is if legal support, legal advice, if the mothers need support, like to fill out forms, going to court, support going to court, we go to Parliament, give them, I'll make sure the mothers have their voices get heard. We write to the boys, we make sure we write to the boys, send them birthday cards, let them know that they're supported. We've also building up a system of care. We try to make sure that they have money on their canteen, if they need money for stamps and, you know, envelopes and things like that. Make sure the mothers are okay. It was important for me to tell my story publicly because, again, people don't know about joint enterprise. They don't understand joint enterprise. It's so blatant to see that our boys are targeted and society is against them. Sadly, you're not safe. You're not safe in society. I want the whole world to know, come on, this is what's going on. Please, let's do something about this. It's not fair, and it's not fair. Joint enterprise law is not applied fairly.
To take away from this film would be for people's parents or people's eyes to just be open, you know, to understand and be aware of really what is going on. Yeah, I believe that it's starting from the schools, to the exclusion, from the exclusion to the prisons. So, open up your eyes and see what's going on.
What keeps me fighting is seeing other mums going through the same thing. And it's a horrendous ordeal, and I feel for these mums that are still fighting to get their justice. So that's what keeps me going. I'm doing a law degree now, just finished my first year, because I want to help people that haven't been as lucky as me to have the resources that I had to fight it. Some mums don't have that, and that's why that's what I'm fighting for, and I'm fighting for them.
But a lot of our children, some of them say, nah, never happened to me, can't happen. You know, they as well. think that it can't happen. And again, same thing, it can very easily. My program is called Say No, It's Your Choice. And the reason why I called it Say No, It's Your Choice, because a lot of our children feel that they don't have a choice. You know somebody's not good as a friend, yeah? They've got certain ways about them that you know are problematic. You have a choice whether to stick around with that person or say, you know what, friend, love you, but God can't, we can't. You understand what I'm saying? Because you have to think forward that this person could cause me trouble, end me up in trouble. They need to understand about their text messaging and what they're Snapchatting and their whatever the case may be. You can't have these certain conversations because certain conversations can be misconstrued and taken into to being that you're conspiring, because we've already had a case like that with the Manchester 10. They were supposed to be conspiring to do harm when their friend died. Yeah, there was a telegram message that went around. They were upset and whatever. They got charged for there wasn't even a murder. That's the thing about it. But they was charged for conspiracy. You know, no one died. So they need to understand the dangers of their phone. You know, friendship circles, behaviors, all of those kind of things. Yeah. There's too much silence out there for something that is so controversial as joint enterprise. The silence is deafening. So we need to do more podcasts, run more sessions, get into the schools, colleges, universities, you know, these institutions, and be spreading the awareness, raising the awareness about what joint enterprise is.
They said my son was guilty.
He didn't even touch anyone.
One moment changed everything.
I trusted the system.
People see headlines. They don't see children. They don't see families. They don't see the fear. This can happen to any young person. Awareness matters. Conversations matter. Community matters. Please share this film. Start conversations. Educate young people. Support families affected by joint enterprise and help us create change.